So
Hello, good morning.
thank you very much. So thank you, Mr. Malachi, for joining us this morning also.
It's a pleasure.
So currently I'm just applying some steps. So we'll just wait for a little bit. If it's done, then we can start.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so just a recap of what we talked about yesterday. So yesterday we declared our problem statement. That is, we just want to know how our organization, which is Banasdol, is comparing against its competitors, and also want to see top performing products and also the country where we have a high market share. And we get in our data, which were in an Excel workbook and also a CSV format, and we transform those data and cleaned it up using the Power Query. So this is now the Power BI interface, the Power BI desktop app. So you can also access the Power Query back by clicking on this particular icon here, transform data. So click on transform data, and this is going to open the Power Query editor back for you. So if you want to get in another data source, then you can just follow this step by going to click the transform, and you can get your data source and also transform that particular data source. So just by clicking this new source, you can add also another data source to your Power Query. And you can also close it. Since now I'm not performing transformation, I'm just going to close it instead of closing and applying. So I'm just going to close this particular Power Query. So now if you are looking at our Power BI desktop interface, you see that we have some panes, and each pane as it works, as the work it does. So first of all, now you see a big field here, so which we call the canvas. So it's on this canvas that you now build your reports. So a single canvas, we can just call it a dashboard. Why more than one canvas, we can say this is a report. That's we're having various pages. So you can add a page with this icon here. You can add more than one page. You can have 2, 3 pages, depending on what you're actually visualizing or analyzing. Then the first pane by the right of the canvas is the filters pane. So it allows you to be able to filter either your visualization or your page or all the pages that you have on your report. Then also have the visualization pane, which carries various visuals which you can use to visualize a data. So we're going to be talking about them when we start analyzing the data. Then we have the feeds. These feeds list all the tables that you're dealing with. And when you click on the drop down each particular table, you can now see all the columns which you also have under that particular table. Then at the top, we now have our tabs, which are 6 tabs. The file tab allowing you to save your file, to open a file and perform file operations. We also have the home tab where you can see common or basic operations which you can apply on a particular table or on all your tables. They also have the insert, allows you to insert items on your canvas. They also have modeling, which allows you to create relationship between your tables. Because when we are importing tables, we are making sure that there are relationship between this table so that a particular table is not going to be redundant among the tables we have. Then also have the view, allowing you to customize the view of either your canvas or the whole interface itself. Then also have the help if one needs help. So where you can also have access to documentation and also training videos. So also by the left-hand side, you're going to be seeing 3 icons here. The first of all is the report icon. So allows you to be able to view your report and also build your report. Then we also have the data icon. This is where you can see your data, all the data which are very important. No matter how large is it, you can view it under the data window. And also above the data window, you see a hidden tab that has come out. So which means that this particular tab can only be accessed when you're on the data window. So it is this particular, they call the table tools, allowing you to perform operations on the table. You can either create measures, which are calculations, or you create columns, or you create a new table as a whole. So these are the operations which you can perform under the data window. They also have the most important part of Power BI, which is the model. So this is where you create relationships between your tables. So by default, if you want to see the whole of these tables that we have, you just have to click on this particular fit to page. So it's going to bring out all the tables you have, and automatically Power BI will detect relationship in some tables. So currently now it has already detected a relationship between manufacturer and products, and has also detected a relationship between products and sales. So we have what we call dimension tables and we have fact tables. So fact tables are tables which you're actually interested in analyzing, like this sales now. This is where the revenue is. This is where details of the sales is. So this is table we are interested in. Why other tables we have are just that we call them dimension tables. These are tables that are just containing facts about what we have under the sales. So you can see under our sales now, we don't have product name or manufacturer name. So the only way we can get this detail is by linking it or relating it to another table. So So that is why you see we have the manufacturer table, we have the product table. So from the product table, we can know the product name of a particular item that was bought under sales. While from the manufacturer table, it is related to the product table, and we can know a particular manufacturer for a particular product. So this is the relationship we have now between these three. But you can now see that there is one particular table now here not having any relationship. So we cannot leave this particular table like this. We need to create a relationship. But first of all, while we are creating a relationship, let me show it now. I'm going to go to the reports. So I'm going to be creating a clustered column chart. So now I'm going, and you can see by clicking on the custom clustered column chart now, I have values which I am to fill. So I'm going to be filling my x-axis, my y-axis, and also values which I can also fill. But a cluster column chart takes categorical variables against numerical variables. So that means under my x-axis, I need to provide a categorical variable, and under my y-axis, I need to provide a numerical variable. So I want to check the revenue now by country. I want to see the country with the highest revenue all through. So I'm going to be bringing my country to the x-axis. And I'm going to now be bringing my revenue. So by default, it calculates the sum. So you can see the sign here, a summation sign. It's going to calculate the sum or the total revenue. So now currently, now you can see we're having a wrong information, which is not true. So we are having sum of revenue by country. You can see that we're having Australia, Canada, Germany. We're having like 7 countries here, all having the same revenue. So we need to go to the model and create a relationship between the geography and the sales. So that is the only way we can now see the actual revenue of each particular country. So now we have to check the relationship between these two terms and see what are they related by. So we already have a zip code in geography, we also have a zip code in sales. So I'm going to draw this particular zip code to that of sales. So to try and create a relationship. But you can see it is giving us a warning that it has a cardinality of many to many. What this means that it's possible that in 2 locations, they're having the same or similar zip code. So for us to be able to create a relationship, one of the table have to be having unique values, in the sense that we cannot have a zip code of, for example, 68274, and also in another row in that particular table, we're also having 68274. So we're not supposed to be having 2 values, one value appearing also another time in a row. So we are supposed to be having unique values. So that is why it's telling us that relationship is what? Many to many. So how do we handle this now? So the best way for us to handle this now is to, because we know that, okay, if a zip code is the same, if we have a zip code in a particular country, then it's possible also have that particular zip code in also another country. So for us to make that particular zip code unique, we need to have the country name in one of the zip codes. So even though if the zip code is the same, the country name is not going to be the same. So then we end up having a unique value. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to now create a calculated column. So what we call a calculated column is a column that was created using a DAX formula. So DAX stands for data analysis expression. This is the use of formulas to either create measures, calculations, create tables, also create columns. So you use this particular programming language called DAX to create a column now. So I'm going to be creating a column that combines the zip code and the country in both tables, both geography and sales, so that we end up having a unique column. So I'm going to click on new column for that of geography. So I'm going to be calling this zip country. So zip country now is going to be geography, zip. Then I'm going to concatenate it. So I'm going to like carry the value of this and join it with the value of this so that it's going to appear here. So using this ampersand sign, then I'm going to give a comma, then also geography, country. So this is what we have. Then we press enter on the keyboard. So you can now see now we have what? Zip country, a new column created called zip country. You can also see that the sign here is different. It's telling us that yes, this is a calculated column. So anybody that's going to be viewing this particular file, when he sees it, that's okay. This particular column didn't come with the data set. So we were the one that actually created this particular column. So it's already telling us that this is a calculated column. So even though, for example, now we have this place as 68274 USA. We can now know that, okay, the USA has already made it differentiated from the Mexico, so it is already unique. So I'm also going to apply the same thing too for that of sales. So I'm going to go and click on the sales table, then click on new column. So the same thing too I did in the geography table is what I'm also going to be doing in the sales. So it's going to be sales zip, then comma. So the ampersand sign just combines or concatenates two values together. So even if I'm to add another column now, it's also going to carry the value of that particular column and join it together. Then I'm going to be adding sales country. And also there's one interesting thing too also, this is called IntelliSense. It allows you to be able to view. So instead of just training yourself to be typing it, so you can just use your type key or you can use your arrow key to just switch to the column which you are interested in typing. So which is that of country. Country name, then okay. So you can also see now we already have a unique column here called zip country. So which combines the zip and also the country name. So we'll go back now to our model. One thing to also, before I go to the model, you can also see that we have a pane here called the properties pane. So you can also customize a particular column or a particular table here. So if you click on a particular table, you can change the name here. You can give it a description, you can give it a labeling, and you can, if you click also on a particular column, and when you click it here, it also highlights in the model. So you are going to see you are going to be seeing the column which you are interested in. So this is very this has an advantage when you are dealing with tables with a lot of columns, or you are dealing with when you are modeling a relationship with a lot of tables also. So now I'm going to be creating a relationship between zip country in geography and zip country in sales. So I'm going to be dragging zip country to that of zip country in sales. So you can see now this has created a one-to-many relationship. What this means is that the zip country here is unique in this place, but it's possible it has already been duplicated in this place. So this is now going to make it, that means we can use this table geography to filter for values under sales. So we have unique values of zip country here, but it's possible that zip country will have been duplicated in this place. Since this is sales, it's possible that 2 sales will be made in a particular location, or we can have 5 sales in a particular location and things like that. So you can see the flow of the arrow. So this arrow means that this is a one-to-many relationship. So this table can filter this particular table. So now we already have our model, we already have our modeling done, we already have the relationship created between the tables. So you can now go back to our data. So you can now see that now we're having USA, Australia, Nigeria, Germany, and also Mexico. So this blank here is supposed to be Canada. I'm trying to see what's actually happening. So let me go back to the Power Query. So I think we might just need to fix that later. So currently now we're having a clustered column chart now, which is showing us the revenue of various countries. So you can see that USA have the highest revenue, followed by Australia. You also see that other countries are followed. So this particular blank here is supposed to be Canada, but maybe later we're going to fix that issue.
Okay.
So now we have the revenue by country. Now we can already see how each that's all over the country. Now currently now we're not viewing based on the organizations. We're just viewing the revenue of each particular country. So we want to know how the organizations are performing in a particular country. So we have the legend field here. So it is at this legend field now we're going to be bringing the manufacturer. So we're going to be bringing this manufacturer column now to the legend field. So one more thing also before I continue is that since we already have a relationship created between these tables, so a very good practice will just be to hide some of these columns. So we're just hiding it, we're not deleting it. So that's just to give a clear space. We also have the product ID to also under products. We are going to be hiding this. So we don't need the zip also, we'll be hiding it. And we already have the zip country to also under geography, we'll also be hiding this. So we'll go to the products too also and see what can we hide. So all this is also okay. Okay, and the zip also, we'll be hiding the zip. So this will give us room to be able to see the columns which we're interested in. So this is the clustered column chart now, and we can now see how various organizations is performing in various countries. So you can look for that of the USA and also that of Australia. In fact, all through the countries, you can see that Van Hasdel is the country with the highest market share in US. They also have the highest market share in Australia, the highest market share in Canada, and also other countries to follow, Nigeria, Germany, and Mexico. But what disadvantage of the clustered column chart is that in the situation where you can see now we're having a lot of values in our legend. So the best option would be to use the stacked column chart. So the stacked column chart gives us a much more clearer view. So when we use the stacked column charts now, we can now see that, okay, all through the countries now, Van Hasdel is the organization performing most, that is having the highest market share. They can now see followed by its competitor, Natura, then followed also by Aliqui. Then also we can see with the orange is Kurus. So now, since our problem statement is just interested in its top competitors now, which we have already seen the top competitors. So a smart thing to do will just be to group it based on, okay, our organization, which is Van Hasdel, then the top competitors, then others. So these are other organizations which are not having a high market share. So now we're going to be creating a group based on manufacturer now. So I'm going to go to manufacturer and click on this particular 3 ellipses. Then we want new group. We click on new group. So new group now, we create a group for us based on our organization, which is Van Hasdel, top competitors and also other competitors. So we are going to be calling it, we can set the name here, manufacturer groups, we can change the name, but I'm going to be leaving it as manufacturer groups. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to group Van Hasdel, which is our organization. Then also I will now start selecting our top competitors. So I'm going to be starting first with this golden color, which is Piron. Then I'm going to hold my control on my keyboard. Then the purple is Natura. Then the next, that is the orange, is Kurus. Then the next, that is the dark blue, is Aliqui. So these are like, I think there are 4. So these are like the 4 organizations that are having high market share in all countries. So I'm also going to group this. Then the next, now you can see include other groups. So these are others that I haven't grouped. So they're going to be included as others. So I'm going to double click here to change the name. I'm going to be double clicking here to change the name to top competitors. So then I can just click here also to other competitors. Then okay. So by doing that now, this just like creates a group column for us, which you can also view when you go to D. So you can see manufacturer groups here, manufacturer. So this is like a column also that was created, but it is grouping this column we had, manufacturer, based on the visualization we just did now. So I'm now going to be removing this legend of manufacturer. I'll be dragging in the legend of manufacturer groups. You can now see the manufacturer groups in various countries. So you can now you can now see clearly and vividly now that, okay, all through, Van Hazel is even performing well more than its competitors. Though its 4 competitors joined together also have a high market share in USA, and they also have a high market share too in Australia and also too in other countries. We can also create a tree map too. So a tree map too also allows us to be able to see. It also allows us to, you can see now, I just change this visualization now back to a tree map. So let me just click on the empty canvas now and create a separate tree map. So a tree map is going to bring just like the bar chart too also, you are going to be given a category and also be given a value. So based on the size of the rectangles it is going to be showing, allows you to be able to know the particular manufacturer with the high market share. So I'm going to be bringing in my manufacturer category, and I'll also be bringing in my revenue. So you can see it now. So based on the size of the rectangle, no matter how you resize the tree map, it's going to be also be resizing the values of each particular manufacturer. So from here now, you can be able to see how a particular manufacturer is performing in terms of revenue. That is all true. So here we are just doing by country. Here is just by manufacturer. That is the total revenue of a particular manufacturer. And when you hover over a particular square, you can see the manufacturer name and also the total revenue that was made. Same to also applies to that of Natura and that of also Aliquid. So that's what we now call a cross-filtering. Cross-filter allows you to be able to filter a visualization based on another visualization. So now if I click on Van Hazel now, you can only see the revenue of Van Hazel in various countries. And when I click back, it goes back to the default settings. When I also click on that of Natura, it allows you to see the visualization, to allow you to see the column of only Natura in all the countries. So even though I've already applied a grouping on this particular column chart now, I can still see that of only Natura in all countries. And that of Cruise, I can also see that of Cruise too in also all countries. But there's a disadvantage with this issue of highlighting. So what if the value is actually small? So if the value is small, we'll not be able to see the difference. So let's say, for example, now, so you can see this now. I'm not able to see the difference between the columns. So this is where you can now go to your formats. So you click on the visualization and go to formats, then click on edit interaction. So you can either, currently now it is set to filter. So the difference between the highlights and filter is that when you leave it on as an highlight, so anytime you click on a filter which you want to apply on another filter, it's just going to highlight it for you, showing all other values or all other categories that were there before. But if I change to filter now, and anytime I click on this, it's going to reset the graph to be able to see the value clearly of that particular organization that I'm selecting. So now if I'm to click on this particular home now, so you can now see that clearly now I can see how the market share is performing in all other countries. Unlike before where it was just showing. So unlike before now where it was just showing and highlight, which is not clearly seen. So this is the advantage of keeping it on as filter instead of leaving it as highlight. So I'm going, and here also removes it. So you cannot be able to apply any filter, even though I'm going to be clicking on any organization. So I cannot apply any filter on this particular column chart. So I'm going to be leaving it on as a filter. So that anytime we click on a particular visualization, I can see the market share of that organization in all countries. So now for us to be able to remove these icons now, I just go to edit interactions and of it. So when I click on edit interaction back, I'm not going to be seeing it again. Same thing to also applies to this place. I can click on this particular visualization and go to edit interaction and make sure that I can also apply a filtering on this column chart to my tree map. So now I'm going to click on the filter now and off the edit interaction. So when I click on Australia now, I can see the market share of Australia. When I click on USA, I can see that of USA. When I click on Germany, I can see that of Germany. So this is how cross-filtering works. It allows you to be able to use a visualization to filter another visualization. So most of the times when you're creating reports or you're creating dashboards, you want your user to be able to interact with various visualization or allow various visualization to interact with each other. So this is where cross-filtering comes. And most of the time, it's usually left as filter instead of highlight. Because as a filter, it allows you to vividly see the results of the particular visualization you want to filter. So now I'm just going to keep this now aside. I'm just going to give this on the side and now create a slicer. So a slicer and a filter are almost the same. It's just that slicer is what your users are going to be using to filter the visualizations you have on a report. So when you give a slicer on your visualization, I can give a slicer now for this particular manufacturer, so that anytime a user just click on a particular manufacturer, you can see the revenue in countries of that particular manufacturer and also see the sum of revenue all through for that particular manufacturer. So I'm going to be clicking on my blank canvas. And when I click on my blank canvas now, so this is the icon of the slicer. I click on the slicer. So this is my slicer here now. So I'm going to populate it now on the field. So I'm going to be dragging in my manufacturer to the field. So these are all the manufacturers that I have. But we're interested in our organization and also the top competitors. So which means that we don't need the slicer of other manufacturers, especially those that are not our top competitors. So this is where we are going to be using the filter pane. So the filter pane, we can either apply a filter on this visual or on the page or on all pages. So we want to apply a filter on this slicer so that anybody that sees this slicer or wants to use this slicer is only going to be seeing the top competitor names and also our organization. So that is where I'm now going to bring in the manufacturer groups to the add data fields here. So you can now see now it has now listed other competitors, which are 9, top competitors, which are 4, and our organization, which is Van Hasdel, which is only 1. So I'm going to be selecting Van Hasdel and selecting top competitors. You can now see that by selecting it now, I only have Van Hasdel and my top competitors. So anybody that wants to use this particular report or wants to just interact with this particular report can be able to select any top competitor or select our organization, Van Hasdel, and it's going to also be seeing the values in both of these graphs. So this is where I'm also going to on the cross filtering tool also for this. It is already even on by default. So if I'm to click on Van Hasdel, so you can now see, I can see the details of Van Hasdel. If I'm to click on Purom, I can see that of Purom. Natura, I can also see that of Natura. Purus, I can see that of Purus, and Aliquid, I can see that of Aliquid. So by holding the control, you can be able to click on more than one competitor or more than one particular value in your slicer. So by holding the control on your keyboard, you can see I can be able to click on them. So now another thing to also now, I can also add another field too. Let me go back to my column. That is, if I want to now, this is now showing me the revenue by country. I can also view the revenue based on states now. So I can just bring the states below this particular country. So you can see now, you can be able to see the revenue of various states under each country. So there is what we call drill down. So first of all, let me sort this. I'm going to be sorting so by sum of revenue. So I'm sorting this by sum of revenue, but currently now I think is in ascending order. So let me make it descending. So you can sort your graph either ascending or descending by just clicking on these more options. So this is sort by axis and sort by legend. So sort by legend, and we also have sort by axis. So when you go to the sort by axis, you can check on the value you want to be sorting it. If you sort it by country, it's going to be alphabetical order. But I'm going to click on some country now. So you can see. If I click on country and I make it descending. So it depends on the alphabet now. So that is when you click on sort descending or sort ascending or sort descending. So, but we want to sort by revenue and from the highest revenue to the lowest revenue, which is we're going to be sorting by sum of revenue. And we're also going to be sorting descending. So this is where you can also customize the sort options which you want to apply on a particular visualization. So currently now our visualization is currently, we have already applied we have applied 2 x-axis to our visualization. So now this is called a drilling mode. You want to turn on the drilling mode. So which means that by clicking on a particular country now, I can be able to see the countries, the states under that particular country. And by clicking on the drill up, I can be able to go back to the way the graph was initially. So by adding these states now under the country now, anytime I click on a country, I can be able to see the states under that particular country. So now it also allows you to be able to see the market share in each state in a country. So if you know that, okay, I've already seen that I have a high market share in this particular country now, let me now see the states that are also having, where I'm also having a high market share, or where my competitors is also having a higher market share. So now if I want to go back now, the initial level up, I'm going to click on the drill up button. But when I off this drilling mode now, anytime I click on it, I cannot be able to go down to a particular state. So this is the button that allows you to turn on drill down or turn off drill down. So then we also have this, which allows you to expand way down to the last hierarchy, so which is this now. I'm having both the country and state. So I'm going to expand this visualization now. I can see regions, that's why. So I'm going to see USA. So USA has regions. So now clicking this button now is now going to take me back to the level up. Why this one goes one way down? So in case I'm having another hierarchy, another level 2 here, so this is what's going to take me one level below, then also another level below, showing me all the particular, all the values under that particular hierarchy. So now let's see how the Van Hasdale organization, now I'm going to, since that's our organization, we've already seen our top competitors and already seen how they are performing. So I'm going to be changing this tree map now to a card. So the card is going to show us the value of, it's going to be showing us the value of our market share. So this is a card. So when I off this now, I can now see the total value in all countries. So by checking it, I can only see for that of Van Hasdale. So now what I want to see now is how our revenue has been performing over the years. So initially the Power Query we filtered for just 3 years. So that is 2020, 21, and 2022. So I'll click on this blank. I'll click on my black canvas and click on Start Column Charts. So in my Start Column Charts now, I'm going to be bringing the date field. So I'll bring in the date field on my x-axis. So you can now see that. So automatically Power BI, when you have a date column, Power BI automatically creates a hierarchy for you. So that is under a particular date, we have the year, then we also have the quarter that particular date belongs to, then we have the month, then we also have the day. So this is a hierarchy that was created automatically by Power BI. So it will save you a lot of stress. So instead of maybe you want to use a month, you want to see how your revenue is performing monthly. So instead of just creating another column containing months, you already have a hierarchy created for you, or you can view the year, the quarter, the month, and also the day. So I'm going to bring in the revenue on the y-axis. So you can now see I'm having the revenue for all these. So now this is where I can also go back up using the drill up button. Can go back up. You now see going back one level now takes me to the month. Going back another level takes me to the quarter of all the 3 years. And going back one level takes me to the years. Currently, I'm having 2020, 2021. So we're having 2022. Let me see. So I think let me go to the Power Query and refilter this to contain 3 years. Let me see. Sales. So what is sales? Sales. So I'm going to clean the filter here. So I'm going to be applying filter now for 4 years. So I'm going to be closing and applying this transformation I've already done. Okay, no. So I think. So now I think I have 3 years now. So 2019, 2020, and 2021. So we can now see that we have a higher market share in 2021 than that of 2020, then 2019. But most of the time, it's a good practice to always have a date table, because there are situations where the range of the dates in one particular table is not the same as that of another table. So it's better we just have something like a calendar that is as a date table. So we now create a relationship in our modeling that is now going to relate that particular date table to other table. Then we'll now be using the column under that particular date table already created, which is what we're going to be doing now. So I'm going to be going to the data. So under the data, now I'm going to be creating new table. So I'm going to be using the DAX expression to create a new table, which I'm going to be calling dates. So date is going to be calendar. We'll use the calendar function to create a date. So from, you can see we are having it a calendar from the start date to the end date. So we're going to be giving the start date, then to the end date. So it's not going to give us a table containing the start date and the end date. We're going to be saying dates. So first of all, we give the year. We give the year, which is 2014. This is 2014. Then the month will be the next, which is January 1st, 2014. Then the day. Then the next will now be given the end dates. So be given dates 2022. That is December 31st. So what this now is going to create a table for us of our dates that were already given. So you can see now I have a table now starting from the initial dates to the ending dates. So we'll now go back to our model now. This has already become a table. So I'm going to be dragging this particular dates to that of the date in the sales. So it's going to create a relationship between this particular date. So you can see it is a 1-2 main relationship 2 also. So the values here are unique. Why some sales have already performed in a particular, we have various sales in a particular day. So here the value are already unique. So that's why we're having a 1-2 main relationship. So now I'm going to go back to the reports. So you can see now this has already changed. I'm going to be removing this. So I'm going to click on the visualization. I'll remove this particular date we have and also hide it. Since we already have it under the dates table. I'm going to hide it. I'm now going to be dragging. So you can also see that's also created a hierarchy too also in this place. So I'm going to be dragging the dates column to the x-axis here. So you can see it has already shown us down to the next level. So what we need to do now is just to drill up. We're going to drill up and drill up. So now, if I want to now view the revenue of a particular year, so first of all, let me ensure that we already have our cross filtering on. I'll go to edit interaction and let me view. So you can see for this particular card, it is on. For this particular one also. So let's see it. So for this one, for the slicer also, it is on. Then also for the column chart, it is also on. So which means that if I'm to click on 2021, sorry. So I'm going to turn on drill down. Then click on 2021, then I can see the values of the revenue in all countries on 2021 for only Van Hasdale. So I'm going to go back to my slicer and click on only that of Van Hasdale. So you can also see, because I click on the drill down, it took me to the 4 quarters of that particular year. So if I want to also see what a particular quarter, I'll click on quarter 4. You can see for October, November, and December. So now let me go back up. So let me turn this on. So now let me turn off the drill mode. Now I can now go back I can now go to the next level of hierarchy by clicking on this particular button here. So you can see and go to the next level of hierarchy. You can also click on this particular button also and go to the next level. I can view all the months and also view all the days too. I can view all the days. So this is how the drilling mode works. It gives room for your user to be able to view on a particular year. If you're interested in 2021, we'll just go into 2021. If you're interested in 2020, you go into 2020 and take the information which you need under 2020. So now we want to also see the products that are having So these are the top performing products. You want to see the products that are performing well. So it's possible a product will be performing well in all countries, or it's possible a product will perform well in a particular country. So I'm going to be drawing a clustered bar chart also. So in this cluster bar chart now, I'm going to be bringing my products to the y-axis. So first of all, now what I'm going to bring now, I'm just going to bring the product category to the y-axis. So I'm going to bring the product category to the y-axis, and I'll bring the revenue to the x-axis. So you can see this is just like an opposite of the other type of column chart that we have already been building. So in this situation now, we have our category as y-axis and we have the revenue as x-axis. So you can see now, generally now, the top performing category is urban items. So what if we now want to see that's under our product, want to see the category, the performing segment, and also the performing products. So this is where we're also going to create our own hierarchy. So I'm going to click on these three ellipses, then click on create hierarchy. So this is where we can now create our own custom levels. So I can now give category first. Category is already there now as the uppermost level under our hierarchy. Then the next is now product segments. I want to click on it, then add to hierarchy, which is our category hierarchy. Then the next are also adding the product name to also. So add to hierarchy also, category hierarchy. So now what I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to move in this y-axis and I'll be bringing this hierarchy here. So this is also going to allow anybody that is viewing this particular visualization to also drill down. So if I on the drilling mode now, under urban now, I can now see the performing segments. You can see now, we can see that generally now urban convenience is the segment that is performing most, or where we have a high market share under this particular segment. And also under urban segment, I can see the products too that is performing most. So you can see, let me expand it a little bit. So you can see the particular product, maximum UC 69. So in all countries, maximum UC 69 is the product that is actually performing most. So I'm going to be changing this now to a matrix to allow us to be able to view the numbers. So now I can now be able to view the numbers now. So if I want to sort it now, I can sort it in descending order so that we'll view the higher number first before now we now start seeing the lower numbers. So I'll click on my three ellipses, then sort by. So I'm going to be sorting by, it's already sorted by sum of revenue. So I think it's also by descending order already. So you can see that maximum UC 69 is taking 25 million plus, the maximum UCOO is taking 24 million plus. So let me minimize this matrix and drag it to this side. So now also when I click on a particular segment here, you can see it's also applying, it's going to be, it's actually not filtering in this place. So I need to click on this filter button here. It's not filtering for the yes. So I need to click on that and also check for that of manufacturer group. Let's see. Also, I need to keep this on. So I think let's check for the slicer also. It's also on. Let's check for the card also. It's also on. So we need to check also for each and every one of them to see if it is on. Because we need the graphs to be interacting with each other. So for this one is not on. We need to on it, take it back. And okay, for all these ones, they are on. Then also next we go to this, I think. Okay. So I think all the visualizations now can filter each other. So all the interactions are already on. So go back to the format and what's of the edit interaction. So now I can click on 2021. I want to see the most performing category and segment and also products under Australia. So I'm going to be clicking on 2021 and also click on that of Australia. So you can see it's also changing. This should be on Van Hasden. This should be Van Hasden. I think this, when we set this. Okay, so now this should be Van Hasden. Select Australia, then 2021. So you can see now under Australia now. So So please, when selecting, you hold your control, you press on the graph you want to filter, which is Australia. Then the next, you hold it, you keep the control held. Then you also press on the year which you're interested in seeing. So you can see that for Van Hasden now under Australia in the year 2021, you can see the product that performing the most, but you can see that the maximum UC is 16. So you can see the maximum UC 16 under convenience is the most performing product under convenience. So let's see the performing segment. I'm going to go back up. So you can see that the most performing segment here now is the extreme segment. So products under the extreme segment is the performing segment under urban for Australia 2021. So if you also want to see the performing products under extreme, so you can see that what is the maximum UEO4. So you can see that in all the countries, the maximum UEO4 is the most performing, is Australia is having the highest market share. So compared to all other countries, you can see that Australia is having the highest market share for maximum UEO4 under the year 2021. So now we're going to be calculating we want to calculate the growth. So we want to see how the revenue has been going from 2019 to 2020 and also to 2021. So for us to be able to calculate this, we need to know the amount we made in the previous year. So that means we have to be creating a measure which allows us to be able to view the amount we made in the previous year. So let me just go to a new page and demonstrate what I'm talking about. So let me just create a matrix. So I'll go to my date now. I'll be bringing in the year. So this is my year. I'll be bringing it to the rows. Then I'm going to be bringing revenue to the values. So since I don't have revenue for that, as you can see my words, only the 3 years is now showing. So now what I want to do now, I want a measure that is going to be able to calculate. So anytime I'm on 2019, I will get the amount that I made last year. Anytime I'm on 2020, I'm also going to be getting the amount I made in 2019. And also 2021, I'll also be getting the amount I made in 2020. So I want to create a measure because it is that measure that I'll be able to use to know how much what is the percentage growth between a particular year to another year. So now I'm going to click on my sales. Then right click, then click on new measure. So now the measure that I want to create now is previous year sales. So I'm going to be typing previous year sales. So I'm going to be using the calculate function. So the calculate function is a DAX expression that allows you to be able to perform a particular expression. That's able to perform a particular expression. Instead of creating a new table, you can use the calculate function to create like a virtual table and perform an operation on that particular table. So I'm going to be using the calculate function. So what I want to calculate now is sum of sales revenue. So sum of sales revenue. So I'm going to be closing this bracket. So sum of sales revenue on what? So I want to calculate the sum of sales revenue on same period last year. So calculate me the sum of sales revenue, but for last year, not the current year that I'm currently in. So I'm going to bring in this particular measure. A measure has a calculator sign. So anybody viewing this will be able to know that, okay, this particular measure was calculated. So I'll be bringing this previous year sales to under sum of revenue. So you can now see what I'm having now. So you can see that for 2019 now, it is blank. This is because we don't have any data for 2018. But for 2020, I have the sum of revenue for 2020. While the previous years for sales for 2020, you can see it is where I'm having the previous years for say 2020, which you can also confirm from the sum of revenue here. And also when you go to 2021, you can see the amount too that was made in 2020. And when you go to 2022, you can see the previous year's sales is showing for that of 2021. So 2022 is blank because we don't have any data regarding 2022. So now we already know now, okay, we already have a measure that's telling us this is how much that was made in previous year's sales. So when I go back now to my report now, I'm going to be clicking on my matrix visual, then I'll be bringing in the previous year sales below here. So now you might be asking now, okay, why is the previous year sales the same with that of sum of revenue? This is because we haven't applied a filtering on this particular matrix. So I need to click on 2021. So when I click on 2021, I can now see the previous year sales of 2021, which is 18 million plus. I can see the quarter of 2020. So this is for 2020, while this is for 2021. So you need to click on the particular, on the year you want to filter for. So if you don't have any year filtered, you are going to be having the same value. But by clicking on 2021, I can now see that, okay, maximum UE04, we made 1 million plus, that was last year, but this year we made 2 million. Why this is for maximum UE21, we made 963,000 plus last year, but this year we made 1,715 plus. So this is how we can use this measure to be able to create. This is how you can use this DAX function, same period last year, to be able to create a measure that allows you to be able to calculate the difference of values between 2 years. So now I've already calculated this particular value. I want to now create a measure that will calculate growth. And we know that the growth is going to be, so this value minus this value divided by this particular value. So I need to know the difference between this and this. So if this is actually bigger than this, it's going to be a positive growth. If this is lesser than this, it's going to be a negative growth. So I'm going to be subtracting 2020 now from 2021. I'm going to be creating a measure called percentage growth. So sales, then new measure. So this is going to be percentage growth. So now we now know that our percentage growth is going to be our sum of sales revenue So sum of sales revenue minus what's previous year sales. So that is what is going to make us to have our percentage growth. But this is just the value. This is just the difference we have. So we have to divide this by what? The value of what we have previous year. They will now get our growth percentage. So I'm going to be using the divide function. So the divide function takes the numerator first, then comma, they are now going to be given the denominator, which is going to be previous year sales. So now I'm going to drag this previous percentage growth now below my previous year sales. So you can already see, but I need it in percentage, which means I need to go to my formatting. You can see under the format tab and click on percentage. So this is going to convert it to 1% for me. So you can see now, I can see the top perform. That's for 2021 now. I can see the product that performed the most. So let me click on Australia back. So you now see, clicking on Australia, I need to sort this by percentage growth. So I'm going to be sorting it by percentage growth. You can now see that in terms of Australia, under the year 2021, the most performing product we can see is the maximum UE04 with 157.56%. So we're able to now know, okay, this is the percentage growth of what we have. And I can also see generally too, what is the percentage growth. By clicking on 2021 now, you can see in terms of urban, you can see that, okay, it is 58.1% more than what that of last year. So now I've already removed the filtering of Australia. So click on 2021 now. So filtering for 2021 and Australia, I can see that the percentage growth is 61.94%. So I can also get my sum of revenue in terms of percentage grand total. So I'm just going to bring the sum of revenue here also. So I can just bring it here. So I want to get my sum of revenue in terms of percentage grand total. I click on this drop down. You can see show value as percentage of grand total. So you can see percentage of grand total sum of revenue. I have it here. So I'm just going to click on Australia. Okay, I already have Australia on. Click on urban. So you can see the grand total of sum of revenue. So this is also another way of also seeing how your products are also performing in various countries and also in a particular year. So this is it for the visuals that we're going to be creating in this particular class today. So just a summary of what I already talked about. We created 2 column charts They also created a matrix. So in this matrix is just similar to a table. You can see we have our columns of the measures we created. So measures are calculations which you already perform. So these calculations allow you to be able to see insights on your data. Then you see the rows too. So we have the categories. And because of this hierarchy we created, that is why we're able to view these categories like this. So if not for the hierarchy, we can only view, if we are to bring only category, we'll only be seeing information for the category. If we bring only segments, we'll only be seeing information for the segments. But since we already know that some of these categories are already dependent on each other, segment is dependent on category and product is dependent on segment. So we have to create a hierarchy. And when creating a hierarchy, it allows anybody using this to be able to drill up and drill down on that particular visual. While the slicer allows us to be able to see for our competitors, allows us to see information on our competitors. You can see, we can be able to see information on each particular competitor using this particular slicer. So let me off this filter I've already put now. So I can be able to see information on each particular competitor using this slicer. So I think that's all for this class regarding this lab 2. I've already explored our data. We have known who our higher competitors, and we also know the year which the organization performed most. And under a particular country, which is Australia, which is selected, we see the most performing product. So I'm going to be clearing this same particular selected year. Okay, now, so I've already cleared the filtering applied on it. So now the percentage growth and the previous year sales we are going to be showing are not going to be shown accurate values except if a particular year is selected, because they are dependent on, they are using their date columns. So you need to filter for a particular year before they can show you accurate values. So you need to filter for a particular year, but without any filtering applied on top of these years, they're going to be getting the same values as that of the sum of revenue also. So I don't know if there are any questions or clarifications.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ridwan. Thank you very much.
The next class will be talking. The next class will be talking how we can now customize these visualizations we have done,
yes.
And to create a report. So we're going to be creating a report which others can use. For now, we just only explored it and just created the visuals and also know some information about our data.
All right, great.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. It's been an amazing session. Trust me, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. So it's good to know, it's good to see that you can actually leverage what do you call it now? Different angles when running certain levels of analytics. So yeah, but it's been an amazing journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, that was an interesting session we had there. Thank you so much, Malachi, and thank you, Ridwan, for that amazing session. So this will be the end of today's class. So thank you, Fahida, for being there.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll round up for today. So if we don't have any question now, so we'll look forward to tomorrow's class. So thank you so much.